every week we rank the 4 ACC football teams in the state of North Carolina. You know who they are. I'm not going to list them because the order might give something away. We put one off the podium, bronze, silver, gold, and it is a 1-week award. Okay, this is not season long. Season long, we know, we all know, right? You can just look at the standings. Who's won more games? But a 1-week award takes in context, right? A close win over a better team might be more impressive than a blowout win over a bad team. Very rarely, but sometimes it happens where a dramatic, impressive, well-played loss might be over a close win over a bad team or something like that. But it is a 1-week award. We look at the past weekend and we decide where everyone is situated. We will start. I feel like we should go in reverse order this time because I think the kind of we're starting with the lead, or we're starting with the hype, the one that people will talk about. Off the podium, because not everybody gets a trophy, NC State. Now, actually, we should emphasize all four teams won. So
they did, which makes things a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. We I don't want to say we like it, but it's easier to choose the podium when teams go ahead and basically announce themselves where they're going to be. You play really bad, it becomes all right, you just put yourself off the podium. State won. The reason why they fall off the podium is because it was way shakier than hoped for against Western Carolina, an FCS school. You were playing at home. It had all the makings of a ceremonial debut of all of your fancy new offensive weapons, and you found yourself in a dogfight into the second half, through halftime. Western Carolina, give them their credit, but a 38-21 win over Western Carolina that took a dominant fourth quarter effort is how you end up off the podium, right? We were out at Carter Finley Stadium on Thursday previewing the game, and a lot of the talk before the game was, maybe even having your bench in for the entire fourth quarter. Turns out the starters didn't even wake up until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So they're going to be off the podium, and they have a huge opportunity this upcoming weekend to vault up the podium next week as they take on Tennessee. Bronze, the Duke Blue Devils. The Duke Blue Devils, 26-3 over Elon, another FCS school. It was never really in doubt, but there are still things that I think you are going to look at and you're going to go, that needs to be fixed before you play a FBS opponent. Malik Murphy, I think, looked the part, which is very, very good news for Duke, right? Having a quarterback that looks the part.
That dude's got a cannon.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to go deep.
Sometimes, and Jordan Moore looked the part.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Moore looked the part. So the passing game left very little to be worried about. The running game, however. It turns out having a starting NFL center and another NFL player in Graham Barton and Jacob Monk on the offensive line is pretty darn important and difficult to replace. I'm a fan of Jaquez Moore as one of their running backs. He's kind of a big play kind of boom or bust guy. He needs to boom a few more times. They averaged, I think it was 2.2 yards per carry. Granted, they didn't go high volume with it. But if their pass game has an off day, you're not real confident that they're going to be able to look to the running game and say, can you take it from here? And that's an issue, right? The flip side of everything is you gave up 3 points to Elon. That's what a Power 5 or Power 4. Gosh, I'm at one point I'm going to stop saying Power 5. That's what a Power 4 defense should do to an FCS school, especially if your offense is scoring 26, right? If your offense scores 40, you can cycle in some backups, and who knows, maybe there's some garbage points for the FCS school. If your offense scores 26, your defense has to keep the pedal to the metal a little bit more, and with that comes a 3-point performance. That's great for the defense. It's a good introduction to Manny Diaz defensive football. That's how you end up the bronze medalist. Silver, Wake Forest. Wake Forest ends up the silver medal. They beat NC A&T 45-13. A little choppy very early on. But I give them the silver for this reason. There was a click. There was an aha. The eureka moment. When Hank Bachmeier settled in, because he did not start at quarterback, but Wake Forest was intending to play too, Michael Kern, I don't even think Michael Kern played poorly, right? He obviously missed some throws that he'd like to have back, really just a couple that wasn't out there for too long. But the offense just looked like it was much more difficult, right? It looked like it was laboring on Labor Day weekend. Looked like it was playing in like 0.75 speed. And then Hank Bachmeier went out there and more big plays happened, right? Hank Bachmeier went out there and it seemed like something clicked. And from that point forward, they kind of ran away with it and won 45-13. So I'm giving them the silver, almost basing this off of the Bachmeier-led Wake Forest offense, because guess what they're going to have moving forward? A Bachmeier-led offense until if and when the circumstances, prove that they need to shake it up again. Morin, the wide receiver, stud, returned a punt for a touchdown, 100 yards receiving. Donovan Green in his first game action since being hurt and missing all of last season, touchdown. And you would expect somebody like Donovan Green to continue to ramp up and get better as he comes back from the injury. And then Damon Claiborne, their running back, another efficient day. He's a player who kind of got RB by committee last year. They just had a bunch of different guys they wanted to get the ball to. Claiborne, and also dealt with some injuries. Claiborne might be able to really put up some stat sheets if he gets a full season healthy, and those big guys up front for Wake Forest stay healthy as well. So silver for Wake. Can't say I saw that coming. Gold, Tar Heels, UNC. This is a bit of a if you beat Minnesota, you're going to be the gold.
We said that last week.
Exactly. And I think it's a smart thing for us to do, because there is a temptation today, since it was 19-17 and you lost your starting quarterback and it wasn't as flashy or as awesome as you'd hope the win would be. There is some temptation to go, Wake Forest won by 32. Huh? How about you go ahead but it's like, no. Winning on a true road game against a Big Ten team to start your season, that's a gold medal worthy performance.
With your starting quarterback getting hurt?
With, I would argue, like more than a few things operating as hurdles, as obstacles. Minnesota, their defense bowed their neck. Their offense maybe wasn't as impressive as PJ Fleck was hoping for, their head coach, but their defense did not make it easy. The weather, the injury to your quarterback. I would argue the way you handled your quarterback leading up to the game, where it was all the secrecy and everything, to the point where, and this is why, by the way, I am so against, and we'll have to talk about this later in the show, I'm so against doing the two quarterback thing, and I'm even more against doing the fake two quarterback thing, right? Mac Brown saying, well, we're going to play both. Oh, we have two guys that could be starters. Oh, we expect to play both guys all season, because Max Johnson didn't play well early in that game. And every drive, the question was, are they going to go with Max Johnson again? Then at halftime, you go search Twitter. Everybody was asking, are they going to go with Connor Harrell coming out of half? Oh, wow, I'm surprised they didn't go with Connor Harrell out of half. Turns out it was Max Johnson's job. And if you would have said that 2 weeks ago, it's Max Johnson's job, then even if he played poorly, the conversation would have been about getting the offense back together. I mean, it took at least a game and a half for everybody to start calling for DJ Uiagalelei's job. And that's because they said he's the starting quarterback. They didn't do that for Max Johnson, which made the entire vibe around the team much different. Mac Brown now, with Max Johnson hurt, is looking to Connor Harrell. Here's Mac Brown talking about the next man up mentality.
Connor is a great example of next man up, man. You never know when you're going to be asked to play. So you better be prepared, because you may be, hey, Connor, get in, late third quarter. And then you got to be ready to go. I'm trying to help Max, and I'm looking for Connor, and Connor's over there loosening up and getting his mindset ready to go. So you got to be ready to go. at all times. And now Connor will be our starting quarterback, and Jacoby, who missed spring and was behind, will have to catch up now. So he'll be right in the mix, and he needs to get ready to play this weekend. I mean, you're one play away from him playing.
Yeah, I will say this. As a former backup quarterback, I mean, if the starter just gets a little bumped, you're warming up. You do not wait for coach to say go warm up. Usually, actually, they're saying, hey, don't go warm up, because they don't want everybody to think the starter is hurt. But yeah, next man up is next man up is next man up. I think it's ironic that Mac Brown tried to sell us in the week and a half leading up to the season that Connor Harrell wasn't the next man up. He was one of the men up right now. Right? It was Max Johnson and Connor Harrell were neck and neck, and they were both going to play. And now suddenly it's, well, he's got to be the next man up. Got to rally around the backup. And I'm going like, wait a minute. Now we got to rally around the guy who was good enough to win football games just a couple days ago, Mac. Now he's the plucky upstart backup that could. I'm like the little engine that could, you know what I'm talking about. I've been reading a lot of stories to my 3-year-old. You're going to start getting references from children's books, which is a little bit of a different beast. But basically, UNC is gold. They get the gold medal because they, you know, quite frankly, you zoom out, they beat a Big Ten team on the road to open their season. At the end of the year, that's going to look like a non-conference win over a power conference team. And you know, 1917, people won't even remember how it happened. They may remember the Max Johnson injury because they replayed it enough to make our stomachs turn when you're watching the game. But other than that, it is a 1917 win over Minnesota, and that's how you end up the gold.